Hey everyone, my name is Zach REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by Split Chain bassist Tom Davies. We discuss the band's newly released debut album motionblur, signing with Epitaph Records, looking back at the band's fast-paced growth having only formed a couple of years ago, which Split Chain song he would include on a Tony Hawk's Game soundtrack, and loads more. Very quickly, before we get into that chat with Tom, if you do enjoy the podcast, then I'd really appreciate it if you could take a few seconds of your time right now to support it. You can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this out, and that way you also don't miss out on anything new that I put out. You can leave a review or a comment. You can follow the podcast on social media. You can join the mailing list if you'd like email updates. And for those of you who'd like to go the extra mile, there's also a Patreon and there's a web store where you can pick up some merch. I've shoved links in the episode description box for all those things that I've just mentioned, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now, with all that out of the way, here's my chat with Tom Davies of Split Chain. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast. We're joined by Tom of Split Chain. How you doing, man?
Yeah, chilling, man. How are you?
Yeah, all good, man. All good.
Good.
Yeah, I guess let's just dive into like the big news for you guys. Like debut album motionblur just dropped. How are you feeling about finally getting this batch of songs out into the world and your first ever album?
It feels like a weight has been lifted off of all of us, to be honest. Like we haven't been sat on the record like for years or anything.
Yeah.
But even the year it's taken to write, record, and get it out, even though it's it's only taken that amount of time, it's felt like, especially with this year, it's everything that we've been building up towards, with the single releases and stuff like that. And I think there was a lot of expectation as well. I think that people have been asking for an album since kind of day one, really, since they started finding us. So it feels good, man. It feels really, really good. None of us have ever put out an album like this before, so it's the first for all of us. But yeah, we're all super stoked and super proud of it.
Yeah. I think you kind of, alluded to what I was going to bring up next, which is, with a title like motionblur, it seems very apt for the fact that how things have like gone so quickly and grown so fast for you guys. That, I mean, was that the reason for the album title as well?
Yeah, you pretty much got the nail on the head. I remember everything. It was when we were, I think it was quite late we decided on the title. I think it was actually the most recent US tour that we'd done, where we sort of did a few headline shows and played LDB. But we were sat in the van just trying to brainstorm like titles, words we thought we were cool and stuff like that. I went through a couple of ideas and then we landed on motionblur. It was like, you know what? A, it just looks sick the way it's formatted. B, it sounds cool. And then C, yeah, like you say, it's like, it's kind of got this double meaning where literally the last 2 years for us has been, we haven't been able to sit down properly and take it in. So it has felt a lot like that.
Yeah. Like I say, like it just seems so apt for just kind of encompassing, like I guess the band's existence so far.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's good that people are kind of getting where we're coming from with it. So it's nice to hear that that's kind of what you thought.
Yeah, and it sounds like just the way the album sounds is the perfect soundtrack to a Tony Hawk's game, so it's very apt as well that it came out on the same day as the new game.
Dude, that was that was crazy. We didn't know that was going to be the case when we decided on the launch date, and then we found out obviously that the Tony Hawk game was coming out. Personally, I wish we could have had a track or two thrown on that soundtrack. I think that would have been nuts. But they were kind enough to give us, codes for the game and stuff a little bit early. So
yeah,
I think Jake's pretty much completed it by the sounds of it.
Oh wow, already.
Yeah, he's been sweating it.
Yeah. Have you been playing it?
I've tried to download it on my Steam Deck, but I've not finished yet. So I think I'm going to get it ready for this flight tomorrow because we've got like 11 hours straight or something.
Yeah, keep yourself entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. If you did have one Split Chain song on Tony Hawk's, which one would it be?
What, dude? There's so many to choose.
What's the Tony Hawk song in your
disposal? My head? I'm gonna go either Under the Wire, the opening track, or maybe even Who Am I? To be honest, I think they're both pretty fast-paced tunes. And I think they go pretty well with the vibe of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I could grind along to them and pull a 900 on that with that track in the back. Yeah. Well, yeah, you kind of mentioned there, like, tomorrow you're heading to the US, and by the time this conversation comes out, people can hear it. You'll have been to the US to do your album release shows. Like, how is that all feeling like that you're doing album release shows in the US?
Dude, yeah, the idea that we're even doing album release shows in the US is crazy. I mean, one in the UK was crazy enough. Three in the US is, I don't know, in a league of its own.
Right.
But it's really cool. We're all super stoked, and we're doing it with some really incredible bands as well. Never easy, present, and commoner. So, but yeah, man, we're really, really stoked. The US has always been like a big part of our. Don't know. It's always been the place that's kind of felt like a second home to us. It's where we really started getting interest pick up initially when the band launched. And it's always really cool to go over there, and we can enjoy it in the summer now instead of the freezing January cold. So I'm stoked for that, dude.
Yeah, I just think as well, like it's just the sound that you guys create, like there's such a big market for it in the US, so it doesn't surprise me at all that it resonates so strongly over there.
Yeah, I think our sound is obviously, in terms of like the visuals and stuff like that, the aesthetic. A lot of what we were into growing up and what we're putting back out into the world is very sort of a US pop culture. You know, you look at the skating, the wrestling, even the metal kind of side of things. I know that was arguably founded over here, but US do their own thing with it. We've gone with that kind of tinge. So I think it's just managed to resonate really, really well over there. And we're always so warmly received. You know, US fans are a different breed. They'll drive hours and hours to come hang out and see you. So yeah, it's always good fun looking like going over that way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I last spoke to you guys, it was at Outbreak Fest last year in 2024.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, we kind of like touched on is an album on the way, and you said at the time like there's a plan for it, but that's pretty much all you could
Mm-hmm.
give me.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess at what point, now that it's out and you can kind of unveil things a bit more, when did things start kind of piecing together?
So I don't think we started writing long after that interview that we did at Outbreak. We did a few shows. Well, after that, we did a little run with Gel across Europe, and then we came back and yeah, spent some time writing. That was sort of around June, July, sorry. Um, in terms of that, it was quite a stressful sort of start to the album writing process because, like I said earlier, this is something that none of us have ever done before. And we felt like a lot of expectation from, outside sources. So, at this point, it's a label, and not just any label, it's Epitaph. So you've got them behind you, you've got their expectations to live up to. You've got the team that you've built in management, agents, whatever it is, to live up to. And then you've got the fan expectation as well. And then our own expectations too. So there was a lot of pressure going into the initial writing stages of that album. We tried to do things that we'd never done before. Like, I think we spent a weekend just solidly trying to write, and it was fucking horrendous, to be honest. I think one lead on managed to come out of it and made it to the album, but those 3 days were pretty brutal. And it was a pretty important lesson for all of us. I think we realised that, just like everything else with Split Chain, we can't force the musical side of it either. It has to be something that comes really naturally and really authentically to us. So we hit the brakes on the like workshop, or if that's what you want to call it, side of things. And we just decided that we'll go back to doing what we do best, which is kind of just noodling about with ideas here and there, send them to the guys, and going from there. So yeah, that was difficult, but it was an important part of the process for us to learn, how it is we actually sit down and write, and what it is that makes us us. And then yeah, like I say, after that we went down to Middle Farm Studios in Devon to record the album in November with Kel Pinchin. So that was a month then. Kind of like, I guess it was a pretty tough process, to be honest. Again, there was lots and lots of pressure, and we learned so many lessons there as well. And the fact that ultimately we had to be doing this for ourselves, and then from that, the best will come out of it, and hopefully hit everyone else's expectations outside of Split Chain, or people just looking in. But Kel's a legend, he helped us through that. It was a long month of 16 hour days,
Wow, okay.
sleeping in the control room or next to the control room, stuff like that. There was no recreational area or anything like that. So if you weren't sleeping, you were working, kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, it was. I think we went into the studio having not finished the album yet, so we didn't have all the songs written yet. So yeah, we were also doing that on top of tracking everything, trying to finish the record. And I went home a little bit earlier once my parts had been finished because there was some sort of stuff I needed to take care of. And I remember the guy saying it took up until literally the last day. I think Who Am I was still being, the vocals were still being written and recorded for Who Am I.
Right.
So very like cutthroat, last minute. But yeah, I think under those circumstances, we produced the best album that we could have. I think those circumstances helped us push ourselves past our limits and expectations and helped really create something that we're all super, super proud of.
Yeah. Would you have, I guess I'm looking back now, would you have liked to have more time, or do you think the pressure of a time crunch kind of actually helped you guys out?
I think it helped, to be honest. I think had we had more time, we would have been, I don't want to say lax about it, but I think that 4 weeks was perfect for us, where it was like, we have to sit down and we just need to focus now. We don't have room for fucking around and pissing about. It was like, okay, this is what we're here to do. This is other people's money on the line. This is our time and other people's time on the line as well. You know, we need to sit down and do this. And like I say, it was long and it was hard. And, you know, it was hard on all of us in different ways. But I think out of it, well, that pressure kind of, it's so cliche, but like, you know, how pressure creates diamonds sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't think the album would have been the same had it not been for the pressure that we felt then. I think it really brought out the best in us ultimately and helped us put together a quite cohesive, good record. So,
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah, I guess that's kind of like the benefit of, some bands will write an album over a year, 2 year, 3 years. But I guess if you're kind of creating it in such a short space of time, it's kind of like there's going to be a cohesiveness to it because it's all within the same time period. You've got kind of
yeah.
like the same mindset in that time period and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, it's like I said earlier, we were all doing this thing together. You know, so it's the first time any of us have ever done this. So it was all it was a learning experience for everyone. Everyone went in with the same direction on the vision and stuff like that. Any sort of, I like to think we're a pretty democratic band. So it's like, if we're undecided on something, the majority will go in, and you know, if the majority wins, then cool, it's fine. But you know, we had I think at least few instances where I don't think there's a single track and stuff on the album that nobody likes. Obviously,
Right.
people got their favorites and stuff like that, but I think everyone is stoked on the album, and I think, you know, I'm glad it happened in such a short space of time, from the signing to Epitaph to the writing to the recording to the putting out, because I don't think any of us wanted to be sat on music any longer than we needed to.
Yeah. Yeah. Were there many songs that like were kind of like, I guess, left on the cutting room floor, or did you kind of basically use all of
Yeah,
the things you had?
so there's definitely songs that were cut.
Yeah.
You know, if it was a case where we have multiple instances of, say, you know, a heavy song, for example, it'd be a case of, right, which heavy song do we like the most? And
Yeah.
then, okay, cool. Are we able to fit any of the others on the album? Well, no, because, you know, the heavy song that we've already put on there kind of fulfills everything we want it to fulfill.
Yeah.
So we don't want to, you know, we didn't want to create an album of 10, 11 songs that are all exactly the same, because it just ends up being like, it's just hard to listen to. You know, you've heard it once and you're never going to go back. There's no replayability to it. And in the current climate where it feels like, you know, people are only sort of interested in singles and stuff like that, playlisting, we just wanted to kind of harken back to when we were like kids, teenagers, whatever, and we would go through the journey of an LP, you know,
Yeah.
listen to it front to back. And there's so much variation when that happens. And I think it just adds that another interesting layer to it. And I think we all do. And but yeah, like I said, there's definitely songs on the cutting room floor that were left. You know, we even went to the point where we were like, we spent like maybe a full day or two just trying to organize the track listing because we
Right.
want to be as what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I guess again, like coherent and as formatted and as well put together as every other part. We wanted to pay attention to every single detail, not just the sonic ones, you know?
Yeah, yeah, like the whole journey, like when someone plays the album, like you want this song to lead into the next song and then that song to lead into the next song and it actually have kind of like a flow to it as opposed to, oh, it's just
Yeah.
a separate song.
Yeah, that's exactly the word I was looking for. Yeah, we wanted it to flow properly. And, you know, some of the songs that we might have left out probably interrupted that flow. Or, like I say, there's a song on there that's probably already fulfilled that purpose. So it's like,
Yeah.
who knows? We might use them again and rework them in the future. But yeah, there was definitely stuff that we omitted for the sake of the album.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wasn't sure because like you say, just because of the time crunch, like were you kind of like, I don't know, scrapping a little bit at certain points? I don't know.
Um, I don't think necessarily there's any sort of like, yeah, I mean, songs are always going to get scrapped in the album writing process because genuinely there was stuff on there that, you know, there was one song in particular that we really tried to make work. I think, well, I think it was a riff or something that we had done at the start of the album writing process. And a couple of the guys were quite, you know, they were like, oh, let's at least give it a go. Let's see what we can get out of it. So we all ended up jamming in the live room, and it just was not coming together. And you know this, and we were just like, what are we doing trying to make it work? Then, if it's not coming together now when we're all together, then we're forcing it. And if we're forcing it, it isn't us. So
Yeah.
you know, let's leave it. If we, you know, it's an idea for the future. We might be able to come back to it at another time, but again, a lot of the stuff we do is all about being as authentic to ourselves as possible. So if we're having to force anything, then it's not happening.
Yeah. If you're forcing it, then you guys aren't going to like the song. And if
Yeah,
it does go on the album, it's just going to be filler. And you could have just spent that time writing another
yeah,
song, which you would prefer. So,
yeah. And we didn't want an album of one or two really good songs and a load of it's filler. You know, this is
yeah.
our debut LP. This is our, you know, this is what people have been looking forward to and what we've been looking forward to doing.
Yeah.
So it was, we didn't want to half-ass anything, and we didn't want to do stuff just for the sake of doing it. It had to be really good and really authentic, or you know, we're not interested. So
Yeah.
that was another lesson that we had to learn, but we have learned now, and in the future we'll know that, you know, when it comes to maybe something else, LP2 or whatever it might be, we're going to go in knowing that now. So it's definitely a nice thing to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Lessons learned, if nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned before, signing to Epitaph, one of I guess the biggest labels in that kind of scene. Like, how did that even come about?
Dude, that was the most unreal thing I think any of us have ever experienced. It was really weird. We were outside the venue in Liverpool. We were on a short weekender with Blanket. It was very early in like Split Chain's life, uh, and we just we just ate at Spoons, just hanging around until the doors opened. And I remember, I think we were chatting to one of the support bands or one of the local openers or something like that, and we got an email through from the A&R guy, and we were just like, sorry, 2 seconds, and we all turned around and were like, oh my fucking god, like, oh my god, like trying not to like make it obvious or anything like that, thing like this, like in front of anyone else. So obviously we hit him back up and like, yeah, we're down to have a conversation, like, please. And yeah, we end up chatting to his name is Yarden. Shout out Yarden, you're a dude. Um, and yeah, he was like, dude, we're super interested. We love what you guys are doing. Would you be interested in basically having a meeting with Brett Gurewitz? And we're like, fucking obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, of course, even if this amounts to nothing, like we would just love to say hey to Brett. Yeah, had the call with Brett later on, whenever it was, a couple of weeks later, and yeah, then got the offer, and it's all sort of history. So yeah, it was really sick.
Insane, insane. Because I think it was like maybe a few days beforehand, like before you announced the signing, I was like going onto one of your songs, and at the bottom of like Spotify, it'll say copyrighted by, and it said Epitaph. I was like, are these guys on Epitaph now? And 2 or 3 days later, it's like, oh yeah, we're signed to Epitaph. I was like, oh, that
Dude,
explains it.
we did it for that exact reason as well. We wanted to put the song out before the announcement, so if anyone was keen-eyed enough, they would see, and eyebrows would start to raise a little bit. So
Yeah,
I'm glad you managed to catch that. That's cool.
yeah, I caught it. I caught it. So what made you then? Because I guess the conventional route for a band would be you put out a few singles, maybe put out an EP or two, and then you go on to a full-length album. Whereas that you guys, you did the singles and gone to the album. Was there a reason for that? Was that something that was discussed with the label?
The singles is something that we wanted to do from the very start of Split Chain. So when Split Chain sort of actually came about and the first few songs been written, recorded, whatever, I think we had two. We had Get Inside and Future ready to go for our first two songs, and I think Bert made the decision. It was again, it's like I kind of complained about it earlier, but how everyone's sort of into singles at the minute and stuff like that, and how everyone favors that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like, kind of see, like, the way we sort of looked at it is no one's ever heard of us before. No one cares who we are. Why would we put out an EP or an album for people not to listen to? What we could maybe do instead is we already had this bank of songs written. We had two of them recorded and mastered, ready to go. So why don't we instead put one out at a time with a video for each song? We can spend 6 to 8 weeks promoting it at a time, so it gets our full attention and focus, and everyone else's. We can also, potentially get some playlists off the back of it, which is always nice because that's a sick way of getting. Well, it's a good way of getting streams these days.
yeah,
And it kind of just snowballed. We were like, you know what, this plan is really working, and it started to show it was working. And then when we had that conversation with Epitaph, we were like, you know what? Again, an EP's cool, but we really want to do a debut, like
yeah,
a full debut. So Epitaph were down. They were so down. It's like, in the meantime, we'll continue pumping out all the singles and all the songs we've kind of got left in the bank ready to go as part of our plan initially before signing to Epitaph. And then from there, we'll go for the LP and see what happens after.
yeah, yeah. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it was just like a really there was a lot of thought put into it. We didn't want to when we started Split Chain or agreed to start a band, it was like, if we're doing this, we're not going to half-ass this. We're not going to do it for the sake of doing it. We're going to give it one go. If it works, sick. If it doesn't, fine. We just want to play a few gigs. But we were like,
Yeah,
no matter what, we just want to make sure we're doing it right in our
yeah,
eyes. Bert is responsible for a lot of that. He's very, he's really tuned into a lot of it. So very lucky to have him, obviously. And he's got the vision. He's able to see what it is we need to do in terms of like the way you promote singles and stuff like that. So credit to him. But otherwise, that was the plan. It seemed to
yeah.
work out all right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, myself, I'm more of like an album guy kind of
Yeah.
guy, but I see why bands put out singles. Like obviously, especially in this kind of playlisting climate culture, whatever you want to call it, like totally makes sense. Like I'm not anti singles, but like
No, 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 not at all. And
yeah,
like, people like short form content at the minute. That's just the way things are transitioning. TikTok, Instagram Reels, singles, playlists. People
yeah,
want to see or hear the next thing quickly. They don't want to be stuck in it initially. So very much establish ourselves with singles, and from there we can put out a full body of work.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, like even with those singles, you collected them anyway into a vinyl, didn't you? Like what's it called,
Yeah,
SC1 or something.
SC01 or something like that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was just like because we had a lot of people asking for vinyl anyway. And as an EP, as an album come in, where can I get my hands on something? So we were like,
yeah,
what, let's put it all together, all the singles so far together, and put it out as like a limited run thing. And Tom from Other People Records was kind enough to help us with those pressings and stuff like that. So it worked out really well. Man, it kind of scratched the itch for people for a little bit, and
yeah,
it come out with a debut.
yeah. I mean that technically in that format is like an EP anyway. So
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I suppose it is. I
in a
suppose.
way.
Yeah, in a way, it was just a really long-winded way of doing it.
Yeah. So I think you kind of like mentioned this before, but I guess because of those singles and because they did so well, even you did that plan of the 6 to 8 week cycle, and then it came to the album. Was there pressure with all the that fan anticipation for songs like Get Inside and songs like Future? Like, how do we make sure that we top these songs that are already out there? Like that's got to be putting some kind of pressure on you guys.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of pressure from outside sources like that as well. And like I say, when we first started writing the album, it was like we were writing these songs and these riffs and stuff, and it was like we don't like them, but we're fans. And I think it was like, yeah, maybe, and it was just like the maybes aren't good enough. Like we need to feel confident, that we like them because if we like them, we think other people will like them. That's what's worked so far. Why would we
Yeah.
change that? So we definitely like had it in the back of our heads that we've actually got an established fan base now. People want to hear Split Chain songs, and we need to bear that in mind. But ultimately, we're still going to write for ourselves because that's what we did at the start. That's what worked and seemed to have resonated with people. So why would we try and mess with the formula too much?
Yeah. Why don't break it? Sorry, don't fix it if it's not broken.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and we tried to fix something that wasn't broken, and it was dog shit. So we're like, no, it's not happening anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we mentioned before the title Motion Blur, like just the insane, what, 2 years, just over 2 years you guys have had since like starting. How much you've grown, how much just what Split Chain has become in that time. And it just seems like you guys haven't had a chance to stop really, because it just seems like you're always doing something.
Yeah.
Have you taken a moment to kind of like just take stock and look back at what has happened in the 2 years and what you've done? Like, if you really think about it, you've kind of achieved already in 2 years what a lot of bands haven't achieved in 10 plus years, right?
Hmm. It's hard to, like you say, because we're so busy all the time and there's always something to worry about next. It's like hard to really sit and think about it too much. And me and Bert, especially, we've talked about it to people before, but we kind of struggle with the imposter syndrome side of things, where it's like,
Yeah.
because everything has happened and because of the timeline, especially, and how it seems to have been like fast forwarded, it's like we sit and question ourselves and we're like, do we actually deserve to be in this situation? No, I'm sure we could name a million people off the top of our heads who we think deserve to be in the spot that we're in, but aren't for whatever reason. Um, so it's about, I guess we do definitely, and we are hugely grateful for the opportunities that we've been given. We've always at least taken the time to sit back and be like, this is actually insane, this is a privilege, we're really lucky to be doing this, so let's not take it for granted and let's not take the piss with it. We always say if it were 5 years ago we would have fucked this up. I think it's come at a good point in all of our lives where we're a little bit older, and we kind of have I don't want to say our wits about us, but we kind of have a bit more life experience to help guide it a little bit. But yeah, I think, even to be fair, Sunday was the first time I think any of us really sat down to think about it, because it was we played the album release show on Friday, played 2000 Trees on Saturday, and then Sunday we sat and we were like, we're all having a day off, like just have a day to do what you want, sort of thing. It was, I think for the first time in a little while, all of us got the opportunity to sit and think, holy shit, this is absolutely insane. Especially, like I say, it's the fact we're on Epitaph, the fact we're going over to the US again for the third time this year tomorrow. It's like, yeah, what the fuck did we do to deserve it?
Yeah.
Where this imposter syndrome comes from. But at the same time, we're trying very hard to not let it take over. It's just like, let's just ride the wave and see what happens. Nothing's guaranteed, nothing's going to last forever, so why don't we just at least have some fun with it? So while it has been hard to sit back and kind of be like, whoa, there are the occasional opportunities, 11-hour flights, for example.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, this is actually kind of mental. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I completely get like the imposter kind of syndrome thing, but I wouldn't say it's a situation of like, oh, well, do we deserve this? Because clearly you've wrote the songs, you
Hmm.
promoted them, you've made those connections with the fans, either directly or indirectly, with just the music itself and
Yeah,
the people you've made by networking behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. But and this isn't to like discount your, even though I've just said that, not to discount your talents or anything, but
cool.
as you kind of said, like sometimes it is kind of right place, right time. If you did it 5 years ago, even if you did kind of like try to do the same thing, it might not have worked.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
that's not to say like you don't deserve this. Like you've clearly worked to get it.
Well, yeah, I think, that's a crucial thing that me and Bert try to remind ourselves of all the time, or any of us that struggle with it. It's just like, you know what, we have worked our asses, you know, to the bone, more or less. It's like, our girlfriends don't get to see us at all, really. They all have to put up with the fact that we're here and then we're gone. Um, there's everyone's made sacrifices, and I think it's important for us to remember that we have made those sacrifices in order to do this. And yeah, call it fate, call it whatever you want to call it, but you know, for some reason, well, someone's got to do it. So why the fuck isn't it? Why can't it be us? We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, just do the thing. And like you say, you'll be continuing to make sacrifices, such as like going on tour and stuff, because whilst you're on tour, you're missing certain things at home with friends and family and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So there's yeah. I mean, like I say, like you said, we're all making sacrifices. We're all working our asses off to make this work, and it's always it. I don't really know. It's just yeah, it's important for us to just kind of maybe not take it too seriously, and just kind of see where it goes. This could be done in 10 years. It could be done in 50. We don't know. So we may as well just enjoy it while we can and go from there.
Yeah, yeah, I guess it's a bit cliche to say, but tomorrow isn't guaranteed, today is, so just enjoy the moment and do your
Yeah,
best as you can right now.
yeah, exactly that, man. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, whilst we kind of like look to the future, what else is planned for you guys so far for the rest of the year that you can talk about?
So we've just announced our tour with Counterparts. I think it was like a couple of hours ago. So we're going back to the US and Canada for a tour with Counterparts. That'll be really, really cool. So that is from September to October. At the minute, November's looking like it might be a month off. I'm sure we'll be writing and stuff, but a month off of touring. And then December we're on tour with Landmarks, which will be really, really cool.
Nice.
I think it's one UK show and the rest of Europe. But that'll be a really cool show. Pain of Truth are on that bill. So we recently toured with them and Knock Loose. So it'll be nice to see them again come Christmas time. But yeah, that's sort of it for the rest of the year for us. Carry on with the LP. I'm sure we'll put out some more music videos here and there as well. And then yeah, next year's looking. I'm not going to say anything about next year, but it's looking it might be a special one. So fingers crossed.
Awesome. Well, Tom, thanks so much.
Awesome.
Really excited to hear about what's going on with the band and the new album and all the touring and several visits to the US
Yeah,
and yeah, crazy man.
yeah.
Um, Before I let you go, any final words? Anything you want to say or plug? Floor's yours.
All I'll say is that obviously the debut album is out now. Pick it up if you haven't yet. If you get the vinyl, there is a special little Easter egg at the end, if you want to call it that. So if you get the vinyl, make sure you wait right until the end. What else do I want to say? Start a band and just have some fun because there's never enough bands, there's never enough music, and you've got nothing to lose. So have a laugh.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. Well, again, appreciate it. I'll let you go. Best of luck with the flight. Hope you don't get too much jet lag, and
Oh,
yeah, hopefully see you at a show around
yeah,
here soon.
yeah, all good, bro. Take care.
Yeah, you too. See you
See you
later.
later. Bye.
Bye. And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media, and maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again, hopefully catch you on the next one, and remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.